A life-changing news about my wife broke out during Thanksgiving. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. I am writing this at 3 a.m. on a throwaway account because all my friends know my Reddit account, the day after Thanksgiving because I honestly have no clue what to do. My wife, my best friend, the love of my life since 10th grade, cheated on me with my best friend. I am absolutely shattered. To give some backstory, me and my wife, I'll call her M, have been dating since high school. When I met her in 9th grade, she was dating T, my best friend in this story. At that time, me and T were okay friends, although not that close. After meeting her, I became quickly infatuated with my wife. All of freshman year of high school I would pray that her and T would break up so that I would have a chance. Eventually, it happened and in 10th grade I befriended her and asked her out. Our relationship was one of the best things that happened to me all of high school, and her company sustained me through what was overall a pretty crappy 4 years. Seeing as they were just freshmen when they dated, T didn't seem all that bothered that I was dating his ex, even giving me his blessing when I asked if it was okay. By senior year we were close buddies and there was absolutely no reason to believe that he held any animosity toward me for getting with his ex-girlfriend from freshman year. Us three all went to the same local state school for college, where I kept my relationship with my wife and my close friendship with T. There were times when it became blatantly clear that T was attracted to my wife, like when I caught him staring at her during parties and when one of my other friends told me that T had confided in him a desire to fuck my wife. While that bothered me, my wife is very attractive, so I understood that other guys, including my friends, will inevitably be attracted to her, and as long as they don't make a move I don't really care. Overall though, it was very clear he was heavily attracted to her. And over the years we have been friends he has always made sly comments about her attractiveness and about how lucky I was, once even commenting on her ass shape. Fast forward to over a decade later to this year. Me and my wife now have 2 beautiful children, a son and a daughter, and are married, while T is recently divorced from his ex-wife. It was a pretty brutal divorce, so recently over the past few months T had been in a deep depressive state. I wanted to be there emotionally for him, but simply couldn't because the demands of my job as well as mental problems I had been dealing with consumed all my time. My wife stepped in and helped as he was going through his stuff. They had never been that close since college, and my wife disliked T's womanizing tendencies, but after T's divorce and my wife being there for him I noticed a definite change in their attitude for each other. Whenever T would come over to chill with me, my wife would always sit next to him as well as laugh at his jokes, as well as go out of her way to ask when he was coming over next time. I noticed this and it bothered me, but didn't want to ask because I didn't want to come off as possessive as well as I liked how T had someone to be there for him when I couldn't. It continued to the point where my wife started to go over to T's house to hang out with him while I was at work. Eventually around September I snapped and told my wife that I was uncomfortable with how much time they were spending together. Instead of getting mad or calling me controlling, she apologized and said she had gotten caught up in the friendship and would respect my boundaries. I asked her if she was attracted to T and she admitted that yes, she felt some attraction and T had flirted with her but he had never made a move and that they had never done anything. Just this news struck my heart and I told my wife I didn't want her to hang out with T anymore. She agreed and apologized for her actions. For the next couple weeks everything seemed fine, with the exception that I started avoiding T. At the beginning of this month, however, my wife and I got into a blow-up fight over financial issues. She has been struggling to find work since the pandemic has been winding down and despite a very flexible labor market, for some reason no one would hire her. My job is not enough to support a 4-person household so we had been in a lot of stress financially. The argument got so bad that she walked out and didn't return until several hours later. I didn't ask where she had been but she seemed almost disheveled and had an odd look on her face. Despite this, I never questioned her about her whereabouts, as I really at that point didn't feel like talking to her. Now fast forward to Thanksgiving, where my entire family, as well as some of my friends including T, who at this point I haven't talked to in over a month, were invited. The conversation over dinner was going well until politics was brought up. Me and T are on completely opposite sides of the political spectrum, him being a hardcore Trumper and me being a liberal. Please don't argue over politics in the comments section. Generally we avoided discussing politics in our relationship but for some reason today he seemed adamant to discuss it. It quickly turned heated with the conversation turning personal, with T yelling that my liberalism was a sign of my timidness and failure to be a man. I asked him where that had come from and he responded that I couldn't even satisfy my wife sexually. This completely shocked me and whole dinner table, as me and my wife never discussed our sex life in front of anyone, and the rest of the dinner was fairly awkward and full of silence. After dinner, when everyone had begun leaving, I confronted my wife and T. She started at the ground while he stared me in the eyes and admitted to fucking my wife on November 4th, the day we had the blow-up fight. He said she came over seeking advice and they ended up hugging, with him making a move. He said she initially resisted and said it was wrong but eventually gave in and they had sex. The whole time my wife was silent and staring at the floor. Instead of feeling anger, I felt utter shock and couldn't get a word out. After a few minutes of silence, T just left and I was alone with my wife. She broke down crying, saying that it's as the worst mistake of her life, and that the stress of my work, taking care of our children, as well as my personal issues which lead to me being non-attentive to her, made her feel undesired, and that T's attention and flirting made her feel good. She said she was never planning to do anything with T, even though he had hinted at wanting to sleep with her when they hung out, and was just gonna use him for attention while I was absent. She said it was as the weakness of the moment after our fight that led her to have sex with him. I told her to get out of my face and that I needed time alone to think. She went up to her room and came down to try to talk and plead with me, but every time I screamed at her to get out of my face. Now sitting here writing this, I am absolutely devastated. The thought of my wife sleeping with another man tears me apart, to the point where I've never felt pain this harsh. I want to stay with her as she is the love of my life, but I don't know what to believe. Did they really have sex only once? Was it really an innocent mistake because of stress? I don't know. I want to stay with my wife more than anything though, so what are your guys' thoughts on this? Here are some of the best comments from our community. It seems unlikely that this is the only time they ever crossed a line. I suspect there was at least emotional cheating. If you decide to stay with her, you will both need individual counseling and eventually marriage counseling. If you decide to divorce, first see a lawyer to see where you stand. What will life be like after a divorce? In fact, do so before making a decision. I would wait a week or two to make a decision either way. Let the initial shock wear off first. Then make your decision. Is your wife capable of putting in the hard work of building back trust and helping you heal? Of course, your friend has to be cut out of both of your lives for good. No compromise there. This wasn't the first time. Look up Trickle Truth. They try to get away with more by only admitting the specific thing, while not being honest about anything else. They deny everything you don't have hard proof on. Unfortunately, this wasn't a mistake, especially not an innocent one. It was a series of very calculated and strategic choices that you would have never found out about and would still be going on if her AP didn't have a tantrum. She is lying and cheating on you while being unemployed and making you foot the bill for her AP's Thanksgiving dinner. Where were your children while they were together? What about while he was at your dinner table disrespecting you? That is gross and so bold that she has her AP over around your kids at Thanksgiving. Don't let your wife gaslight you. She's already making excuses and trying to shift the blame onto you. If you stay with her, absolutely expect more lies, more cheating, and her making you believe that you are jealous and crazy while she uses you financially. She really can't get a job, or would one just cut into her time with AP? Get an STI test, lawyer up to learn your options, and lean on your friends and family right now. Really think if you want your kids being raised in this environment. Kids mimic what they see and will seek out the same as adults. If you do stay, it's going to be impossible to really know since you work and she has all the time in the world to give her love and attention to him. And it would be impossible to take her word for it since she's good at hiding lies and cheating on you. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.